engine at the other end of the field was starting to pull it back. That's how they carried on, each time moving a little bit forward and lost again.
And that seems a fairly lengthy, complicated process, but believe you me, that was revolution in terms of ploughing, because up till then it's all been done by horse, and an engine with a good crew could plough many more acres a day than you could have done with a horse. Anyway, we've got the first of probably two, possibly even three, Wallace and Stevens Adler rollers coming in. This one is in the colours of the Royal Engineers. It's got a lot of extra bits and pieces on it which were specified by the Royal Engineers and worked at Portsmouth Dockyards. So I think it was quite a late build actually. Wallace and Stevens, this one was built in 1936, so one of the last ones to be built. Very much customised to Army spec with a mantle feed pump, sprung drawbar, and you could really have another 2 tons of ballast water in the wheel. Clipwood of Linfield, West Sussex, before that engine on very fine condition, lovely. And we've got Jonathan Bond still going round. Oh no, it's Bruce Rothrock, so it's another ballast. Come on.
Yeah, 1923, and done by Bruce up in Palace Town, up the road. Another engine that very often seen here in this rally, very often the one this.
Yep, and Emma is going to run us now. That's enabling a filter again. A convertible traction engine, in other words it could have been a roller, but it was most of his life was a tractor built like, quite very heavy for a roller. But ideal as a traction engine, restored literally from a heap of scrap by Jeff Burgess and his family. Made its debut at the Kent Show in 2000 and won several awards ever since then.
Well, that was coming Williams family, born in this lovely half-size home wagon here. Never looks half-size, he looks a lot smaller than that, but you start measuring, it is half-size.
One of only 13 double-drive barrel traction engines made. Again, entered by Jeff Burgess family from Crossingham. Built 1916 and through the Prince. It's just had a huge amount of work done on it. He was going to do something, he was going to finish the work on it, and then got a shock when the boiler had to be redone. He's done that double quick time, actually, and made him done all that work in a short time. I think he had to sell another engine to pay for it. It cost a lot of money, but never mind. He was Jay Harding from the Newton engine firm, and back in action after a major rebuild.
This engine from the big deal and powered by George on the 40-wheel go. Put them on, put it into the shed, and eventually the shed collapsed on it. Several bits, partly dismantled, several bits dismantled, and after George and Joy passed away, the trustees decided, right, good volunteers decided to resurrect the engine, got it out of the shed, and rebuilt it, and managed to find most of the bits and pieces and put back on it, and now she's out of the outside.
And another ploughing engine in front of the Coventry Point now was first owned by a firm in Wiltshire, sold then to the Steeple Steam Ploughing Company in Essex, and went through several owners in Kent before being acquired by Bob Watts, who lived up the road at Five Ashes. It's a VB, which is ploughing engine, which is one of the most prolific, if you call it, of ploughing engine, built in 1914, just before the First World War, and the beginning of the First World War, obviously. And Bob Watts has done a restoration engine. He's got a team, not just single-handed, but he had a team of people up there at Five Ash who've done nearly all the work on this engine being done in his own workshop just up the road at Five Ash.
Now we've got the Oscar, after tractor trolley, this is a task of chain drive. In fact, you could actually put some suspension on the back axle. You couldn't do it with the geared engine because every time you went over the bump of the axle moved, the gears would come out of the mesh. But with the chain, you can have a little bit of slack in it, it's enough to enable it won't jump out over the sprocket, but it does mean that you've got a little bit of suspension.
Oh, here's Wilkie with his 6-ton Wallace and Stevens Advance called Kathleen. That's at the bottom end of the scale for these engines. Same size as that owned by my son and his partner Jeff, who was here yesterday. It was, I always say this, a lot of memory for me because that was one of the first engines that my son ever had anything to do with when it was owned by Neil and Melanie Herridge back in the mid-70s. And he actually was on that engine when he came in the arena at Festival of Transport. So they were looking after him for me, God bless them. But now it's been owned by Ian for many years now. He's been looking after it. And it's in the colours of its original owner, which was a contractor from the Manchester area. And I think we've just had the boat go past, haven't we? Yes, we have. Rob Roy has just gone past, and boat from General Purpose engine, boat from Sandbach, Cheshire, very large rear driving wheels on that one, which we noted the other day, more spokes than any of the others put together, I think. Beautifully lined out. Famous history now, owned by the Cross family of Bright. Looking very fine. So now it's just polishing the glass top on the chimney, I think.
I'm going to report a 10-ton roller, 5.5, from the field in 1923, and supplied you the Kingston Road Roller Company of Dorset. And the Edison Company were a very, very large company. They provided road rollers for road work all over the country. They didn't mean when they actually drove the engine, they were working up in the middle, they didn't drive the engine up in the middle of Yorkshire. They would actually put it on a railway, it would go up there and be unloaded when it arrived. They did, the company worked all over the country.
Like you said there, Mark, but quite often they did drive quite long distances because they have a living van with them and the roller driver would go with it very often with wife as well. Thunderbird going round now is an impossible because it's not a steam engine, it's a diesel engine. So it was made by Aveling Water, Aveling before they became part of Aveling Carter, who were more famous for making diesel engines. This is a very early. What basically is it's a stationary engine. Normally an engine that stays in one place, it's all stationary. Stationary engine on 2 wheels. It's started by compressed air. And when it's going, it's this big thump noise as a single twist that goes up and down. So the truss is named, it's got the name Thunderbird. It's very heavy engine.
Been overtaken by, I think that's Pollock.
Was Pollock coming around? Yes.
I think that was Pollock, who's got no wagon on it.
Yes, it's overtaken by Pollock.
Fred Streeter, his engine, a raving and quarter roller. I think at one time it actually lived up near where I'm from. It had 2 owners in Cranley. One of them, I think, was Brian Gooding, now the editor of Busy Spirit. So it's all glory, I would say. Now Busy Spirit, he owns the roller. Another Sentinel, Jupiter. Another part of the Dorchester collection here. Built as a timber tractor. See the ground anchor there at the back, which is dropped into the ground when you start winching the timber out of the woodwork. The engine doesn't move back, the plastic into the ground stops it moving. And it's actually got a winch driven by a totally separate steam engine. The boiler in the front, which is in the cab, vertical boiler, that supplies steam to drive it along the road and also the steam for the winch engine at the back.
And just got in front of me now is Southern Queen. which is an 8-inch quarter convertible. We always say convertible and people think of cars, well something the roof comes on, no. It means that you can change it from being a steam tractor or traction engine to a steam roller by changing the wheels, obviously to road rolling wheels rather than road going wheels. But this one was 4x4, it was converted to a show section. It was running into various shows with fairground ornaments, juvenile rides, what have you. And so here, I mentioned converted this into showman's form with the full-length canopy, the lovely grass, early cubits, which take hours of cleaning, and importantly, it has a dynamo on the front, so it actually is used as a showman's engine to power the rides and the lights, but mainly the rides themselves. And it's got many, many miles on the road, which has travelled all over Sussex, East Sussex, West Sussex, and Kent in the past. Sometimes with me, having the misfortune to be serious. So there we are.
And the insurance, Model AB with insurance, very early engine, this one, 1895 was it built. This has been the Langley family for over 50 years. I've known it around the rally field. As long as I've been involved in this stuff, big rallies. And recently it just disappeared for a couple of years or so. And major work on it, boiler work on it, a new back axle made, new bearings and everything. And Ian Langley, your son, he put a lot of pictures on Facebook. Watch this various things being done to it, all the pictures there. But it's the first time this weekend I've actually seen the totally finished product. And what a beautiful job they've made. Great credit to you, Bob, and to Ian for such a fantastic job you've done on this engine.
And no doubt just at the bottom now is Ebenezer, 1923, built C-Class, 8-inch quarter. Owned by the design company from Mayfield a long time. We've lost a great friend, Darren, after a very long battle with cancer a couple of years ago. His wife now is looking after the engine, Vincent Friend, and they're bringing it to the rally. It's his legacy, that engine, and we're so pleased to see him here today.
All the Morris and Stevenson loans, just joining the line up there. Built down at Basingstoke in Hampshire. This is the one, if you look at the wheels, you'll notice there's a little plate. It's got Wallace on it. And what can actually happen with that, you can take the plate off and you can fill the rear roll and the front roll with water. So it adds the weight to the engine.
Orinoco, it's got in front of me now, built in 1931, entered by Jason James from 3 Cups. It's an L-type roller, one of the lighter of the 8-inch quarter engines, weighing in at 7 tons. An 8-inch quarter L-type from the early 1930s. Again, it's strange, quite down south, we've got 2 engines here whose working life was in Scotland, both of them done for each county council. That's unusual. And Wallace and Stevens Gunner, which is owned by two of our trustees, Guy Osborne and Ben Floyd. A famous engine, really. It's had a famous owner before them, and it's in absolutely superb condition mechanically. Gunner was the, believe it or not, yes, they did have test drivers. He was the test driver for Wallace and Stevens, and it was named after him. And it's kept up the road at Buxton now, and it's great to see it here. We're always pleased to see Gunner. Gunner did some tests a few years ago for, believe it or not, King's College, Cambridge, to test the efficiency of steam. Very high level computer testing for a steam engine. I remember doing an article called Gunner Goes to Uni. Gunner Goes to Uni. I don't know what the outcome was. I think it was Martin's very efficient.
Another engine just joined, probably the last one to join the line up there. Lord Roberts, engine again has been on the rally scene for various owners over quite a period of years. It's nice to see it still out and about, going places. There's down this part of the world now.
Had many owners up until the 60s when it was purchased by Jim Sarney, who's very famous for all his efforts in the preservation field. It was used on heavy haulage demonstrations at such places as the Stourpate Rally and the Great Dorset Rally. And when I mean heavy haulage, I mean in the playpen on the steep hill with two or as many as 3 engines, perhaps one at the front, 2 at the back, and those weighing up to 200 tonnes. And that's the sort of work that it would have done on the road in the old days when they were taking huge steam engines from, say, the North British Works in Glasgow to the ports of Liverpool, or carrying transformers from London up to the north of England for hydroelectric steam. This is what these engines did. They were heavy haulage engines, and Lord Roberts was up there with the best of them. So, very pleased to see them all. A marvellous selection, I think everybody would agree. I'm so pleased to see. We're getting on for 40 engines here. This is the 59th show here at Seekers Park. And basically, apart from the fact it's just steam engines, they are British engineering history. But not British engineering history as you might see it in the Science Museum or Milestones or something like that. Which is good, I'm glad to say, but it's British engineering history working. And there is going to be a working event at the High Wheel. That's the next event in this area. The biggest working steam event in Sussex. Here we've got the engines going round in the arena. They haven't got an arena there. They're going to be doing demonstrations, or as Brendan and the late Brendan used to say, demonstrations. They're doing saw bench work, pressing, road making, heavy haulage, all up at Freshfield Farm, which is in Skanes Hill, on the 14th and 15th of June. So that's what we're going to see, including the ploughing engines, of course, will be there. So that's the next event. The next event here, Peter's going to be the Rail Gala. The Rail Gala, that's the next event at Seekers Park, is the Rail Gala, featuring obviously Great Bush, model railways, the second quarter, visiting engines on the 9th and 10th of August here at Seekers Park. So we're very grateful to everybody who's come along today and supported most generously the thing that this event's all about, raising money for Cancer Research UK. So we thank you for your support in that respect. We thank all our engine drivers and owners. It costs a fortune in coal to get these anywhere these days, and that's the main cost of this rally, is the coal, I'm afraid, because of being on our own site and it being a charity in its own right. That's the main thing we pay out for. Otherwise, every single last penny goes to Cancer Research UK. And some years, of course, because of the weather, we haven't made much of any money because of just been expenses have outcome the gate. But I think we're up to well over, getting on for £500,000 raised over the years. And last year alone, I got the treasurer sitting next to me, the trustee Peter, organiser of this side of the rally, £30,000 this last year. So thank you for last year. I think we're going to beat that this year. But I hope so. We had a very good game yesterday, and I'm sure the same today. So again, we thank everybody. Thanks to Brian here, because without him my voice would have given out now. So thanks Brian. And thanks to our marshals. And thank you above all, the general public, for supporting this event. We hope you've had a lovely, enjoyable day. I'm sure there's lots of things still going on. So as I said yesterday, no rush to go away. I hope that the food stalls are to stay open. You're very welcome to stay rather than have a mad rush on the A272. And that's it. If we can have a symphony of whistles from the engines as a finale to the parade of the day. When you're ready, gentlemen, that'd be lovely. Gentlemen and ladies, I should say. Lots of radios here today on the engine. So we'll have the last grade of whistles, the last whistle of the grade.
Very quickly, let's start. I think we all, people that are involved in the rally and you, the public, to come, we deserve a great deal of thanks to the engine owners who look after these engines, because, as David said, there's nice ones in museums, but I know, not alone, rather see them like this, actually moving around, working, rather than just sitting in a museum. Basically stuffed and mounted, a bit like taxidermy, but I'd like to see them like this. And if these guys, and the ladies, because they get involved as well, if they didn't spend their hard-earned cash keeping these going, because nothing is cheap on an engine. If you've got to have boiler repairs on it, you're talking big money. I mean, talking to someone yesterday, they got to rebuild the firebox on their engine, and they just bought the rivets to put it together, and I think it was about £1,900 for a bag of rivets. That's just the rivets. That's without all the metal and everything else. So it's a big, big thank you. I always feel these people that own these engines, but if they didn't do this, they would end up stuck in a museum, and they, or worse still, they'd be scrapped. So I think we owe them a great deal of thanks for them keeping these engines going so we can all enjoy them.
No, we probably can't hear it. We're rabbiting on here, but thank you again for the wonderful parade you put on for us today. And our echo Brian Words, thank you very much for coming and putting your everything on a warm day here in Sussex. We'll be graced by the Lord with good weather all the way through, so have a safe journey home. But thanks to our engine drivers. We'll hear the Tinkers Park sing the Whistle Symphony when you're ready.
life, believe it or not, is a mobile concrete mixer. Sentinel's built up in Shrewsbury. Jim's had it quite a number of years now, sorted out the roads. We talked to her about the others. Forgot about you, parked alongside her.
Well, Jim brought that Sentinel over to France last year, and it was a star of the show, I think. Yeah, the Frenchies over at Guinea Bray, there was anything like it. But we had a band on the back going round the race. It was a race course actually, and we had a band going round the race course at the back of Jim's Sentinel. And there's a tradition with this rally going back many years now. If you're like me, one that wakes up in the morning to the shipping forecast before going to the loo and then going back to bed again, this is a tune that you'll hear, a famous tune called Sailing By. Yeah, it's all right. Guys working on it. Normally we have it on what's called a cassette tape recorder. Do you remember that? But we've now got it on a mobile phone, I think.
He's got so many tunes on his phone, he's got to find it.